guys, Gina here, and today I am going to scrapbook this photo of my brother and his daughter. And I know it may seem a little weird to scrapbook a photo of, that's predominantly my brother's head. However, I took this photo. He had her laying on the dining room table and he was tickling her. And I just thought it was the cute. Look at this. It's so darn cute. And I wish I had taken it from the other side. Oh, here we go. I haven't done a video in so long that's, like this. It's been a while. So anyway, I wish I had gotten up from my seat and shot it this way. However, I didn't do that. So this is the photo that I have with the memory, and then I've got all of this noise kind of stuff over here. So not the greatest photo, but a great memory that I want to put in my scrapbook. And they are having a sketch challenge on a message board that I belong to. And this is the basic gray sketch, if you can see that. It's a double page layout, but I don't do double pages, and I only have one photo. So I am going to focus mainly on the left side of that layout. And I don't do sketch challenges very often, and I don't scrapbook from sketches very often. That light from the tablet messes with the auto lighting in my camera, so let's put that back over there and not play around with that too much. So I have the photo. I have these two little things from a Scraptastic kit. I have this love die cut and then some wood veneers, and I want to show them to you. This is from the September. I took all my kits apart and put them just with my general scrapbooking supplies because I won't use them otherwise. I have now learned this about myself, so if you ever hear me talking about subscribing to a kit club again, tell me not to. It's better if I just buy my own supplies. But they did have these cute die-cut hearts. You see that? There you go. And so I wanted to try to incorporate them into this layout, and also I'm going to use the My Mind's Eye My Girl collection for this layout. Lots of beautiful pinks and turquoises in here and some yellow. So that's where we're starting. I have no idea from that point forward where we're going, but we are going to get started. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time. Hey guys, so I started this layout by spraying this love die cut that I got in that Scraptastic kit, like I mentioned, with this Tinsel Heidi Swap Color Shine. And I'm going to do my best to get through the narration of this video because my voice is leaving me. But anyway, so then I set that aside. So I sprayed it, and the thing you saw there was that the nozzle, I hadn't used that spray in a long time, and the nozzle was clogged, so I had to take care of that. But otherwise, I sprayed that and set that on the side so it could dry. And now I'm going to go through this My Mind's Eye My Girl collection, and you're going to see me pull papers out and put them away, and pull papers out and put them away. And I have to tell you, I showed you the sketch at the beginning of this video, and it's quite funny to me because by the time we get to the end of this layout, it doesn't look a darn thing like that sketch. And I'm going to do these sketch challenges that they have on the message board, but I have to tell you, I find scrapping with a sketch much more difficult than just throwing papers together in the way that looks right to me. I don't know why, it's just that way. So I'm going through and I'm thinking about the sketch. If you looked at the sketch, it called for multiple layers of paper. And so what I'm doing here is I'm trying to go through because, let me just backtrack for 1 second, because it called for these multiple layers of paper, I really wanted to use one collection because I knew right off the bat that all of the colors would match, so I wouldn't have to go through. I know that using sketches is already difficult enough for me, so let's not make it more difficult by trying to find patterns that work together over multiple manufacturers. That's just not going to happen. One of the things that you will see happen here is I will no longer cut my paper on screen. I bought one of those Caterpillar, is that what those thing is called? Yeah, I bought one of those, and it takes up a lot of real estate on my scrap desk, so now I have it on a little rolling table next to my desk, so I will always move off screen to cut paper. So going back, I picked all the layers because this layout called for multiple layers, and I struggled a little bit in getting those patterns that I wanted to use together. So I'm going to start with this pattern of paper, the little floral in the back, and that's all of these are from My Girl. And the blue floral is called Bouquet. The chevron is called Playful, and then I will be using a grid design that's called Fancy Free. And the weird thing was on the sketch, that background was only punched on the two sides, the two left sides, and I mistakenly punched the paper in the wrong place. So I decided, well, I'm not doing a two-page sketch, so it doesn't really matter. And I just went ahead and punched all four corners. I rounded them all. So that's how that happened. It's a rectangle, so it's obviously longer on one side than it is on the other, and yeah, I punched the wrong ones. I do that with sheets all the time too. There's just some trivia for you. I always put the sheets on the bed wrong, so then I always have to, move them around. So anyway, I am just going through and trying. I have the sketch right in front of me, and I'm trying my darndest to follow this sketch, but I have such trouble with that. I don't know why. And then eventually I'll just get to the point where I'm like, heck with it. I'm not going to deal with the sketch. And that's why at the end this doesn't turn out to look anything like this. It does. I mean, it does. It's similar. You can tell that the sketch definitely led the paper placement and things like that, but for the most part, it looks a bit different. So I'm going to use, there's a huge chevron on the sketch, and I'm going to use that chevron, not a huge chevron, there's a huge like tab with the cutout, like the fishtail cutout on the page. So I'm going to use that chevron for that. And this that I'm looking at here is one of those themed packs from Becky Higgins, and it's the, I think it's the, what is it? Let me find out for sure. It's the girl. So it's the theme kit girl. And I'm just pulling, I'm looking at the 3x4 cards that are included in the collection to see which one or multiple ones would work with this layout. And it's really weird to me. The My Mind's Eye papers are on, they're predominantly white. Like they have a white, it's not cream, the white is white. On the Becky Higgins side, it's a combination. You have some of the cards are white and some of them are cream. And even the white is a creamier white, if you will, than what is included in the My Mind's Eye collection. So I was just going through and trying to figure out which cards would work. And because I'm putting them very close to that grid paper, which is funny because at the end you see very little of that grid paper, but there you go. So I'm using my Tim Holtz ruler, and I'm going to cut that little fishtail looking thing out of that long piece of paper, which becomes a pain it becomes a pain to me, but anyway, oh well. I'm going to cut the excess off here. And I really wish I would have kept that as a rectangle, the fishtail. I wish I would have kept it as a rectangle, but what's done is done. So I put the grid paper behind the photo and then the fishtail paper. And now I decide here that this is the first part where I deviate from the sketch. The sketch has that picture a bit off of the right side of the paper, and I decide that I like it flush with the right side of the paper, so I'm just going to go ahead and go with what I like and forego the sketch there. And I cut down one of those Becky Higgins cards because it was overlapping where that fishtail was, and it was kind of annoying to me. So I decide now I don't know where I'm going, so I'm just going to put the title on this layout. And to be quite honest, I don't remember where the title was on the sketch because by this point, I'm done with the sketch. I mean, the sketch set up the main portions of where I was going to put my paper layers, but at this point, I'm like, you know what? This is where I want things, so this is where I'm going to, which I guess is the point of sketches, I would say. They're a starting point, to make you. I'm doing this narration at 12:23 in the morning. I just picked up my niece and nephew from the airport with their mother, of course. I always talk about my kids and not their parents so much. But so if this narration seems a little weird, that's why. So I decide that I'm going to name this layout Daddy's Girl. I'm going to use these stickers from American Crafts, and these are the Sentiment font in silver. And I'm going to put it up here in this upper right-hand corner. But what I know is going to happen is I'm going to create this weird gap. First of all, Daddy seems to be floating to me because the ascender and the descender, the ascender L and the descender Y, of those words. I didn't feel like I could put the D directly on the shelf of that grid paper, if you will. And then I decide, you know what? I'm just gonna make it a little bit off. I'm just gonna make it so that it looks like it was placed randomly on purpose. Randomly on purpose. It really is midnight, isn't it? So anyway, and I decide, but I know that it's going to create this weird gap below it. Well, let me put it this way. The weird gap isn't there until I decide to put this flower down. And then the weird gap, see the gap under Daddy? Yeah. So we'll have to figure out how to fix this, and I'm going to struggle with this a bit right now. I'm going to look for some label stickers I can stick under there. I'm going to do any number of things right now to figure out how I'm going to fill in that gap, that trapped space that's there. So what I'm doing now is I'm going through all of my label stickers, and I'm trying to decide. Right now I'm just looking at color. I'm not even looking at whether or not it really goes. I cut apart my LA Studio ones and put them on some cardstock, but I used textured cardstock, so the temporary adhesive isn't holding them down, so you'll see what's happening here. They're all falling apart. But I'll get them fixed, no big deal. Shouldn't use textured cardstock. Should have just used the plain. Anyway, I digress. So I'm just going through right now and deciding what colors I want to use. And so I'm gonna play with this a little while and then decide that I don't like any of it. And then I'm going to go back and decide that I do like parts of it, and I'm gonna go back, and go back, and go back. I'm gonna put this little sticker there, and then I'm gonna take that up. This is like how, I don't know if you guys scrapbook like this, but this is how I scrapbook. It's like everything is one colossal mess. These are some chic tags. They are from the Happy Place mini icons is what they're called. And I replaced that one little circle that I had in the center of that flower with this chic tag that says picture perfect with the little camera there. And I'm like, maybe I could put some washi in that little empty space, and it's just a colossal failure. In that empty space there. Here I'm wondering if I should use some more of the flowers. I am so sorry. Anyway, and then I think these are some stamps from the Scraptastic kit. They are from, which one? It's called Classy Girl stamp set, and there's this little like bouncing heart on a string kind of. The hearts go up and down, and there's a string between them. So I do pull out that Remember tab, and that is from Jelly Bean Soup, and it's from their sugar. Is it sugar pins? No, that's not what that is. Is it? No, it's from the Pink Paisley Sentiment series, I think. Or it's from the Jelly Bean Soup sugar pins. It's one or the other. I can't remember. So I stick that tab down there by the word girl, and then I stamp that flower there, and that fills in that space in a way that I like. I have these little heart, they're on wire, they're little wire hearts with little silver gems on the end that have been sitting on my desk for darn near forever. And I decide that I want to use them on this layout. Now the sketch calls for several pieces of paper or whatever to overlap the bottom part of this layout. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use just this one strip of ribbon instead. It's a pleated ribbon, and it's gorgeous, and I don't know where I got it. It's in my, as you saw, that canister is just my scrap ribbon. So I'm going to use this red sticky tape, and I always use this to put down my ribbon. I find it to be the most effective way. And forgive my head, my camera is still off. But anyway. And I just worked out when I finished this, so my hair is a nightmare, but that's the way it goes. So I put that ribbon down, and then I think about putting that ribbon somewhere else and decide not to, but I know what I want to do is put some of these wired, it's wire shaped like hearts with little rhinestone embellishments on the end, so I know that I want to put them right down here in this lower left hand corner of the photo, what was on the sketch was a big bow, and which is what led me to the ribbon. And then I saw this pleated ribbon and decided I wanted to go with that instead. But then with the pleated ribbon, I didn't want to put a big bow over that ribbon, and quite frankly, I can't tie a bow anyway. I have a bow dabbler or whatever that thing is called, but I have not yet figured out how to use it, and I can't tie a bow. So this worked out much better for me, was to use these little wire heart things, and you'll see them better on the close-up. But what I needed to do was pull that ribbon off of that red sticky tape, which was quite a challenge, and then stick the wires from the hearts down there. This is I'm sorry, the sugar pins from Jelly Bean Soup is that flower. It came in the Scraptastic kit for October. And I just used one of them, the little pink one there, so that my embellishment cluster has 3 things in it. I don't always do that, but in this case it looked like it needed it. So then I'm going to try to figure out what I'm going to do with this love die cut. And remember I said in the beginning, in the intro, that there was all this noise in the upper right hand corner of that photo. I decide that I'm going to use that die cut up in that corner to kind of try to cover up some of that noise. But the love, obviously the cutout part of love, is not going to work over top of all the multicolored things in that photo behind love. So what I'm doing here is trying to find that chevron paper. I have a full 12 by 12 sheet, but I know I cut a piece of it. And right now I'm looking for the scrap of that chevron paper, so that I can back that love die cut with that. And then I find it. Yay. It was right in front of my face. My mother would have said, if it was a dog, it would have bit you. I'm just going to cut that out. I'm going to cut the flag off because it's sitting on the wrong side of the page for that flag to be useful. I'm going to pull that G up just a tad, and then I'm going to put that right there. And that does 2 things. It pulls pink into that area, and it covers up some of that noise in the upper right hand corner of that photo. This is it's from Studio Calico, that little camera, but I don't know. Let me see, where did I get that? I have no idea. The die cut came in the Never Tear Us Apart kit from from Scraptastic. And the camera, the resin camera, came from, it's Freckled Fawn for Studio Calico. It came in the June 13 roundabout kit, is where that came from. And then I used just a tag or a tab or whatever you want to call them right underneath of it, just to give some separation between the pink of the chevron and the pink of that camera. But I used that camera in the upper left hand corner as a center for that flower, so I thought the camera theme went well, and it was sitting on my desk and I wanted to get rid of it, so I slapped it down on this layout. It's kind of how that worked. I'm deciding here whether or not I want to use another flower, and I decide that I will. But I'm going to put it up on pop dots to add some dimension to that corner of the layout there. And that flower is from My Mind's Eye Quite Contrary, Jack and Jill Life is Good. And then I put the sticker. Okay, I should not narrate videos at 12 o'clock at night. The flower is from the My Mind's Eye Mind Girl accessory sheet. The center I used is from My Mind's Eye Quite Contrary, Jack and Jill Life is Good sticker sheet. So there you go. Now, looking at the layout, I see that, one, I have those rhinestones in those silver wire hearts in the middle of the layout there. And then I have all of this silver up where Daddy's Girl is, but I don't feel like it's balanced. So I'm going to take some of these Recollection rhinestones, adhesive rhinestone shaped things, and I'm just going to border the bottom of this fishtail chevron paper with some of these rhinestones here, just to pull that silver to the bottom of the layout, because I have lots of silver in the upper right hand corner but none in the bottom, so I felt like that pulled that down. And now I'm off looking for my Imaginesse gem setter. And you'll see on the final pictures of this layout that I actually use it, and that's coming up pretty soon. But that's where I am. I'm off looking for the gem setter, and scared, I don't know, funny enough, it was in my drawer marked gems. Crazy, right? So, you can see that flower, the dark pink flower. I put gems in each of the circles at the end of that flower. You can't see it very well, but to the left of that flower, I used the third wired heart that I had, and then I just used the gem setter to add some gems at the other places of the layout, and then I just added the date down there on that tab by that resin camera. And that finished up the layout. The layout took an hour and 15 minutes. The date of the photos is January the 5th, and the layout was made on November the 27th. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys are having a great Thanksgiving, and I will see you next time. Bye.